Okay, in this question, it says that Ali took a hot shower for 20 minutes where all the doors and windows in the bathroom were closed. Before he showered, he observed that both the plastic door and the steel handles are dry. So this is after shower. So you're supposed to describe how the water droplets are formed on the steel door. Okay, you take note of this because these are questions commonly tested in PSLE. So I told students to memorize this systematic way of writing. Okay, so you take note, you must write the warm water vapor from the hot shower loses heat. Okay, loses heat to this one, to the cooler surface of the steel door handle and condense to form tiny water droplets. So you get the 2 marks. Okay, so you must identify number one, the heat source. So it's the warm water vapor from where? From the hot shower. So what does it do? It loses heat to where? To the cooler surface of the steel door. And what happened? And condense to form tiny water droplets. So you take note of this. Let me enlarge it for you to write down the answer. Okay, so you take note of this part. The warm water vapor okay, you copy down this one, the answer. I'll send over here as well. Okay, next, they say after his shower, Ali threw his damp towel on the towel rack in the bathroom. The windows and the bathroom were closed. What could Ali do to make the towel dry faster? Okay, you need to give the reason and explain your answer. Okay, the student lost half mark because the student actually did the first part, but did not explain clearly what he did helps the water to evaporate faster. So the answer is Ali could open his window and put the wet towel. You left out this word. Put the wet towel. So it ends and put the wet towel. Okay. Ali could open his window and put the wet towel on the window plane. Okay, and on the window plane, then you close bracket. The reason is the presence of wind will increase the rate of evaporation of water on the wet towel. So that's a full answer, this part. So you copy down this one. Okay, Ali could open his window and put the wet towel on the window plane, then full stop. The presence of wind will increase the rate of evaporation of water on the wet towel. Okay, so take note now, the presence of water. The presence of water. So this is full stop down here. Full stop. Okay, I've sent it over already. Okay, now you look at another one. This is another school, Christian Brothers School, this year's exam. Okay, can you underline this part, the aim? Alicia wanted to find out which type of sugar solution is preferred by the butterflies. She placed 2 containers M and N, which is this one, M and N here, with same amount of different sugar in a cage. She then prepared some butterflies inside an inverted glass jar and released them in the cage. So the butterfly will actually either fly to M or to N to feed on the sugar solution. So now the question says, what should she observe to make a conclusion? So the answer is quite straightforward. You can see here, this is the conclusion. More butterflies flying towards one of the containers because they want to find out which type of sugar is preferred, right? So the conclusion will be, okay, more butterflies flying towards one of the containers. So there's the answer here, which I bracketed here. Okay, next, suggest how the arrangement of containers in the cage allow for a fair test. So fair test actually quite logical, right? It must be the same distance. So that's why I drew this arrow here. Let's say erase part. So they must be the equal distance. So that the butterfly have equal chances of flying either to the left or to the right. So either they fly to container M or they fly towards container N. So the reason, so the arrangement is the butterflies need to fly the same distance, the keyword, to the sugar solution. Or you can say that both sugar solution must be at the same distance from the butterfly, from the butterfly. Okay, actually part C, if you notice, part C, it says that other than repeating the experiment a few times, what could Alicia do to ensure the results are reliable? Okay, reliable means if you continue to do the experiment a few times, you get back the same result. Okay. Actually, personally, I prefer the student answer than the teacher's model answer. Okay, because if you see the student answer, the student wrote, right, switch the positioning of the container to see if the butterflies go for the same container. That means the student is saying that you swap the place. So this one become N. You bring container N here, this one put M. Actually, I agree to the student answer. That's why I'm helping this student to talk to the school to remark this question, because it's logically is correct. Because you switch the position. Yeah. So it's not due to the location, but due to the distance. Okay, the student were told to do the correction by saying use small butterfly. So use small butterfly is also another reason. But personally, I would accept this reason. Okay. Switching the position of the container. Okay, so we see the next part. Let me screen share this one, screenshot this, and then send to you as you copy down the answer. Okay, this will be almost the last question. Okay, you notice this also in this school, Christian Brothers School. And those of you who has my book, you notice this question actually appears in my book. Okay, you take a look first. I will extract my book and show you shortly. Let me do the pause recording. Okay, now we are at this question. It says that Ross uses the setup below to take photographs of birds automatically. Rods R, this is rod R, can move up or down around A. This A is a pivot. There's a screw down here around A. The context X and Y here, are connected to a special camera, this camera here, by wires. So that when X touches Y, when they touch each other, the camera will take a photograph of the bird at P. So this is what happened if I remove all the annotation, right? So you try to visualize what happened. Okay. So if a bird lands there, lands on P, right? The weight of the bird will cause the spring to compress, correct? So as the spring compresses, this part will form a closed circuit. Notice we assume that there's a battery inside. So the current will flow through this part, okay, and then activate the camera. So the camera will fire the shot to take the birds. Okay, so now this question says, explain how this setup enables the camera to take photograph of a bird when it lands on P to eat the seed. Okay, so I want you to see this question and compare to my book, which some of you have. It's on page 86 of my book. Page 56 of my book. So the same thing, Howard, a science tutor, uses the setup below to take photographs of wild lizard or birds that lands on point L. The contacts M and T are connected by wires to a battery-operated camera so that when M touches T, the camera will take multiple shots of the animals. So I put here, there's built-in batteries here. So when the animal lands here, the spring will compress and this will move nearer to each other, forming a closed circuit. So this one will fire the shot to take multiple shots of the animal. So again, explain how this setup enables the camera to take photograph an animal, wild animal, when it lands on point L. So those of you who have my book, if you scan the QR code, right, you'll be able to see me explaining this question. So coming back to this question, which appears in the Christian Brothers School this year paper. It's actually from St. Stephen in a Marine Parade area. So look at the student answer. He got half mark deducted because he left out this part. Okay, so he said that when P lands, when P, is it P? Or actually he wrote when bird lands at P. The weight of the bird causes the elastic spring force. Okay. So this part, you just mentioned that when a bird lands here, it will cause the spring to compress, causing the contact X and Y to form a closed circuit. Electricity will pass through the camera, taking photograph of the bird. Okay. So if you take a look once more, just give me a second. Let me do a Okay, in my book, actually, the answer is quite straightforward. You can see here. So you can use this answer to explain as well. When an animal lands on the point, so in this question, right, is this point. When the bird lands at point P, right? When the bird lands at point P, the spring will be compressed. This would cause the contact. So you change the asana, the contact X and Y to touch each other, forming a closed circuit, thus allowing electricity to flow through the wires, turning on the camera, taking multiple shots of the animal. So this part, I do a screen save. So that's for this part. Explain how the camera works. Okay. Then part 2, they say, this person placed the setup in his garden. He noticed that smaller birds have been feeding on the seed, okay, but no photograph taken. So how can I change the system so that it can take photograph of even smaller birds? So because smaller bird is lighter, right? So look at the student, this part, I think the student get it wrong. Out of 2 marks, the student gets 0 mark. So number one, you can use a spring that's less stiff, or you can put the contact closer to A. So in my solution, okay, actually this part is actually under this part. Okay, I can say shift the two contacts, X and Y, closer to each other, or I can increase the surface area of the 2 contact points. So these are the possible answer. Okay, so these are the possible answer. I have a screen save already. And then I'll send the solution to your this part. Okay, come back to this question. So the main objective of today's exercise, okay, is to learn from one another. And then you can also gauge your own standard against the other school standard. Because in PSLE, every pupil from either standard or foundation, they will take the same paper. So my target and my advice to every one of you, because we have about 15 weeks, 15 weeks left to improve on our answering ability. So if you fall within this range, either 45 to 65, 50 to 75, or 75, you want to score 88, right? This is achievable for science. So my encouragement and advice to you, be determined and diligent in attending my coaching. Okay, from now, we have about 15 weeks left, and adopt a humble attitude in learning so that you can taste the fruit of your labor. So I have ended my training today, and I wish everyone well. I like to take attendance, so I need you all to turn on your camera. Okay, turn on your camera.